Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News.
Good afternoon. The news continues as we approach 12:30. A disturbing story this midday out of Winchester, where police say two girls escaped from a kidnapping attempt. Police arrested 68-year-old Thomas Hamilton over the weekend, not long after two girls say he tried to get them into his vehicle.
As WKYT's Mark Barber reports, this isn't the first time police have confronted Hamilton. This is our top story at 12:30.
Investigators say a few months ago, Thomas Hamilton was spotted talking to children here on Lincoln and Hickman Street. So police say they warned him and told him to stop. But on Saturday, investigators say he came back and tried to pick up two teenage girls.
He didn't ask, he didn't offer him anything. He said, get in my truck, and they didn't.
LaShia Brewer's mother says she hasn't been able to let go of her daughter since police told her 68-year-old Thomas Hamilton tried to kidnap her and her friend Saturday afternoon. Investigators say the girls gave police a detailed description of Hamilton, so they were able to track him down about an hour later and arrest him on Wynn Avenue.
I feel safe to come outside my front yard now.
According to an arrest citation, Hamilton told police he was driving through the area, but he claims he didn't say anything to the girls. Investigators say they found two ropes, a large amount of plastic sheeting, and a steak knife in his truck.
My biggest worry is that they won't do enough to keep him in there, and the next little girl or little boy won't be so lucky.
We reached out to Hamilton to try and get his side of the story, but he denied our request for a jail interview. In Winchester, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, thanks so much, Mark. Hamilton is charged with one count of kidnapping. Funeral services are today for a young woman killed in a shootout. Amber Caudill was shot and killed last week when bullets came through the ceiling of an apartment in Winchester, hitting her. Police say the bullets were fired by people in an apartment above. They charged Lamont Wilkerson with murder and Lillian Barnett with complicity to murder. We spoke with clerks at the Clark County District Courthouse this morning, and they say it will likely be next week before they face a judge. Police are still looking for another person of interest in the case.
The person behind a violent attack that left two people in the hospital is still on the run this afternoon. Lexington police say they found one man in the parking lot of a building on Martha Court with stab wounds. They also found a woman inside an apartment who had been stabbed. Police think the two were inside that apartment when they got into an argument. When the person came along and stabbed them, a man who knows one of the victims says he wishes he was there to help his friend.
I was pretty mad. I said to the cop, I wish he'd tried to stab me. It wouldn't have gone good for him.
The two victims are still in the hospital but are expected to live.
A woman got a rude awakening overnight when she woke up to find an intruder inside her Lexington home. It happened around 5 o'clock this morning, and this happened at the Mustang Crossing off East 6th Street. The woman told police she heard someone moving around and saw a man running away with some of her things. Police found most of the stolen items nearby, but they were not able to catch up with the intruder.
Well, the search for that missing AirAsia plane is now expanding onto land areas in Indonesia after daybreak there, but the search and rescue chief says it is believed that the plane is at the bottom of the sea. His words. It was carrying 162 people when it disappeared from radar yesterday, shortly after the crew had asked for permission to increase altitude because of rough weather. That request was not immediately granted because of heavy air traffic in that area at the time. While the desperate search is continuing for missing AirAsia Flight 8501, it's a reminder of an astonishingly tragic year for aviation.
This is just the latest unexplained disappearance of a commercial flight with hundreds of lives on board. Renee Marsh takes a look back at some of the aviation disasters that occurred in 2014.
The disappearance of 162 people on board AirAsia is the second missing passenger plane in Southeast Asia in less than a year.
It is eerie, it is unusual, or it's just kind of spooky that this would happen in this area. But we don't know the facts yet.
After nearly 10 months, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 and the 239 people on board have still not been found. Authorities are convinced the Boeing 777 crashed in the Indian Ocean.
Malaysia 370, I think there's good evidence to indicate that it was flown a long, long ways and again, most likely as a criminal act, either by a rogue pilot or an intruder or something like that, whereas we have no indication of anything like that in this case.
Just 4 months later, July 17th, Malaysia Airlines would suffer another loss. Pro-Russia rebels are blamed for shooting MH17 out of the sky using a surface-to-air missile. All 298 people on board that Boeing 777 died. 1 week later, more than 100 people perished after AirAsia Flight 5017 crashed. The aircraft disappeared from radar after changing its flight path because of bad weather. The disappearance of AirAsia Flight 8501 is the fourth high-profile commercial plane disaster of 2014. But the former managing director of the NTSB says the skies are still safe.
I think when you look at the overall picture, there may have been 600 fatalities this year in aviation. That is a relatively low rate when you compare it to the massive numbers of people who are flying today.
Well, that was Renee Marsh reporting. At least 15 ships and nearly a dozen aircraft are involved in the search for the missing AirAsia plane.
Back here now, there is still no sign of a missing Tennessee man last seen here in Kentucky. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says Kenneth Green called family from a Speedway gas station yesterday evening saying he was almost out of gas. That was the last time that family have been hearing from him. They believe that Green spent the night in the car in the parking lot of the gas station and then took off. Police say he suffers from schizophrenia, is bipolar, and has violent tendencies. While dispatchers say officers are actively looking for Green, there is not an organized search. Vandals hit a Lexington neighborhood hard, leaving behind a mess today. Police were called out to Bacopa Place early this morning. That's off Hayes Boulevard. They found mailboxes knocked over and destroyed at least at 3 different homes. No arrests were made, and police say that was the only damage that they found in the neighborhood. A Louisville police officer came to the rescue of a Lexington family on Christmas Day.
They could come together to agree on something, right? Scott Wilkinson and his family were staying in Louisville for the holidays when their 6-month-old son got sick. Scotty went to get medicine but ran into an officer who told him the pharmacy was closed because of the holidays. Later that night, Wilkinson answered a knock at the door, and it was the officer who used an app to find a store that was open. He picked up some Tylenol after his shift and delivered it to the family.
I've walked a mile in his shoes with having a sick child at the house and understanding those late night runs.
It really was a nice gesture. It was relieving to finally get that baby comfortable.
Oh, I'm glad.
It was just what he needed.
As you saw there, the mother drove back to Louisville from Lexington to thank the officer in person.
What about that? I love that story.
That's
neat.
Yeah, right. In basketball, all bets are off.
That's
but hey,
right.
when it comes to a good deed, there you go.
Of course, that was before the game, but but certainly it's good to see that officer doing that good deed.
Yeah.
Well, kids who learn how to play musical instruments may have an easier time paying attention and focusing.
And we're telling you why using your smartphone may give you and your thumb superpowers. Omar Villafranca has details in this Better Living Report.
A new study reveals your thumb and brain work in tandem when you use the touchscreen on your smartphone. Neuroscientists at the University of Zurich measured brain activity of people who use smartphones and those who use old-school mobile phones without touchscreens. They found smartphone users had more electrical activity in their brains when their thumbs and other fingertips were touched than regular cell phone users. They theorize new digital technology may be reshaping how the brain processes sensory information. Children who play musical instruments may be better able to focus their attention and control their emotions than those without musical training. Researchers at the University of Vermont analyzed brain scans of kids between the ages of 6 and 18. They found differences in the brains of those who performed music, specifically in the areas that control coordination, memory, attention, and organization. And teenagers who lose weight for themselves are often more successful than teens who diet to impress their parents or friends. Scientists at Brigham Young University look closely at the success stories of 40 overweight and obese teens who lost an average of 30 pounds and kept the weight off for a year. They found more than 60% were motivated by improving their health. Fewer than half said peer acceptance was a factor. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Dallas.